Just last week, Boston could celebrate a 30% reduction in violent crime from last summer to this one. Now we've had 5 murders in 4 days. Our guest represents Roxbury, Dorchester, and parts of the South End as City Councilor for District 7. We'd like to welcome Tito Jackson. Councilor, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Joe.
Councilor, we booked you to talk about some other and lighter issues, and we will, but just first on the murders. As a columnist pointed out, you didn't have to be in that car or know any of the women who were to be a victim of this. It's a kind of a community trauma, I guess.
And I think the key word that you brought up is the issue of trauma. It is very, very sad and unfortunate and outrageous that 4 young women would be targeted and shot. It shows a cowardice that I haven't seen in the time that I've been doing the work that I've been doing. But I think one of the things that we need to deal with is how trauma affects our community and the trauma response that we actually need to deal with that, because we need to understand that the people most likely to hurt people are those who are hurt people. So we need to make sure that we get to those folks who are hurt. We use the trauma response team that we have in the city of Boston, run and headed up by Courtney Gray, who does a wonderful job, that we even continue to expand his shop to help deal with that, and also to take a proactive approach to the issue of trauma. In addition, we also need to make sure that we are not only focusing on the boys as well as young men, but also that we are focusing on the issues and the needs that women have now in the city of Boston.
Indeed. Yesterday, again, another stabbing in Dudley, probably just coincidental, but it just...
Well, again, the stabbing in Dudley, to me, is one that really sparks some things in my belly from that one, just because it happened. It was a brazen attack in broad daylight, and so many folks actually saw what occurred. I know the police are doing great work right now on this issue. Also, lots of folks are calling into the tip line, and I would encourage people to call into the tip line so that we get this person caught. But it's something that, again, we need to deal with the issue of trauma. We also need to make sure that our community-based organizations, our faith-based groups, as well as people in the political life are working together so that we are not duplicating the initiatives that we have. We want to make sure that our dollars are spent in the proper areas, but we also want to make sure that these families are supported. So there's a lot of work that we have to do to get out ahead of this rather than taking a reactionary approach, because we want to make sure that our school year begins with not a bang. We want to make sure that our young people are able to be transported to school, transported home, and that they are safe. And we have a lot of work to do. We want to see as many resources needed to deal with this at the federal, state, as well as city level, to make sure that we stem this tide of violence that's occurring in our community. And we have some other great things that are occurring in our community. It's not only about violence.
I will just get right to that in a minute. I just wanted to, just lastly, the community's had quite a reputation for coming together, and it quite well in the past, a 10-point coalition. I take it and other things like that. It might have drifted away from it for a while, but we're well positioned to do just as well in the future.
Boston Black Ministerial Alliance, the 10-point coalition, people like Pastor Dickerson, as well as others, have really been in the forefront of coming together as a community and taking on this issue head on. I also think, though, there has to be a community response. When we have seen communities turn around, there has to be a communal response. The police, there's 2,100 folks on the police department. There's thousands of people in our community and neighborhoods. We also need to make sure that we are listening to our young people, that we are empowering our young people, who are the folks who are truly experts with their peers. So we need to make sure that we are empowering them and actually getting them in the room, and not as an afterthought when we have these conversations. And then in addition, making sure that we have the resources to deal with the issues of trauma, to deal with the real issues. And the other piece is making sure that we start with education.
our young people. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's a good point of transition to some of the lighter but still important things. You've got young people empowering themselves to clean up their neighborhood, among other things. What does that?
I have the best interns in the whole world. I have 13 interns who are in my office, and they approached me and they wanted to do something for their community and in the neighborhood that I grew up in and I currently live in, which is the area of Grove Hall. And they have started a one person, one piece campaign, and that's one person, the number one, PERSON, the number one, PIECE. And that's to have one person each day pick up a piece of paper or some piece of litter in our community. And we're going to be holding a community cleanup on Saturday, which will be awesome. It's going to be a great event, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's right in front of Unity Plaza, right in front of Muhammad's Mosque, number 11 in the Grove Hall area. And we want to see everyone's face in the place, and we'll have food, folks, and fun, but we're going to step forward and clean up our neighborhood on the grounds, but we also want to make sure that people have a community connection with one another. And this is all led and comes from the young people in my office, the best and the brightest.
The community connection is so important, and you've got the people to do it. I don't remember, not to contradict you, but I don't remember Grove Hall being all that messy all the times I passed through there. It didn't seem any different from any other place in the city. There's always a little bit of garbage. As Larry DeCar used to say, you know, the prevailing westerlies wind from all across the country and drops off in Boston. But it didn't look that bad. Has anything changed?
I don't think anything's changed. We have a great public works department. I like to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Daryl Kaiser, who runs the lot in my area. But the other piece is, it's one thing to have other folks from outside of the community come and pick up, but it's about time that we step forward. And again, this is driven by young people who want to step forward and make sure that they are the change that they want to see in their community. And I just want to thank the young people who are part of this team in the internship program in my office.
Just one other related thing on the community, another positive thing, just the Boston Business Journal reported last week that housing prices second biggest increase of any place in the state, right in your community of Roxbury.
Yep. So interestingly, we have seen a lot more. Everybody wants to be in Roxbury. You should move there too. It's central. As you can see, we have Franklin Park, which is an amazing amenity. The Franklin Park Zoo is there. We have a public golf course, which a lot of folks are pretty jealous over. We have great people and a great community right there in Roxbury. We're 4 miles from the State House, so we're centrally located. And there's some of the greatest food that is in my district. Everything from a great restaurant called Taringa, which is right at the corner of Mass Ave and Washington Street, to some of the other restaurants that are the Haley House, as well as the Silver Slipper, which are right in Dudley Square. So there's some great things happening there. It's a great community, and we're a community that has stick-to-itness, and we're going to come through these difficulties together, and we're going to come through stronger. And not only are we going to pray together, but we're also going to move our feet and act together.
A great community, of course, a rough patch of about 5 days, but it's been overcoming it, and we all just see nothing but that to continue in the future. And thanks so much for being with us, Councilor.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Councilor Tito Jackson, District 7. Thank you, Councilor.
Appreciate it. Thank you.